Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have a few tidbits for the Bad Batch Season 2, a filming update for The Mandalorian Season 3, we're also going to be breaking down a new teaser for the Book of Boba Fett, and more. As always my dear friends, before we dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button down below if you've not done so, and also be sure to smash that bell to be alerted every time that I post a new video. But without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into the news. So we're going to begin with the Bad Batch Season 2, which after my last video on the subject, many of you guys told me that you miss it. I do too, and luckily today we have a couple of updates. It seems as though we might be getting the show sooner than you think, and it could be the first show to release after the Book of Boba Fett. The variant cover of the upcoming Star Wars Insider 208, which comes out in January, features the Bad Batch front and center on this cover, and the third variant just has Echo on his own. This is the very same issue I brought up the other day, which will also reveal some new information for Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian Season 3. But these two are the variant covers, so the Bo-Katan one is the main one, but the fact that the Bad Batch will be dominating a good portion of this issue, with big details promised for Season 2, we will most likely get a release date for Season 2 next month. Given this issue is coming out during the Book of Boba Fett's run, they're most likely trying to hype us up for what's next, and it's looking more and more likely that the Bad Batch Season 2 is going to be right after Boba and just before the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. The Book of Boba Fett, which drops on December the 29th, finishes on February the 9th, and then we might get the Bad Batch Season 2 a week or two after that. I suspect that's what Lucasfilm have planned, but with more information coming on January the 19th, we might get a release date sooner than expected. The Bad Batch being a prominent aspect of this issue, not only on the front cover but also what's inside, Lucasfilm might be ramping up the hype train and marketing as early as next month. Aside from the Book of Boba Fett, we have no idea when everything's coming out in 2022. We know that we're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, the Bad Batch Season 2 and the Mandalorian Season 3, but surprisingly in Disney Plus's video of what's coming in 2022, Mando was left out. It could have just been an error, and maybe this promotional was just teasing some of the series and not all of them, because it's very unlikely we don't get the Mandalorian Season 3 in late 2022. And speaking of The Mandalorian, Katie Sackhoff on her Instagram page has confirmed that filming has stopped for Christmas break, so they're going to resume in January, and that's going to continue all the way to March, when it will wrap up and the Ahsoka series goes into production. But starting the marketing for the Bad Batch Season 2 as early as next month makes a lot of sense if they're aiming for a February or March release date. As I say, we're just speculating, but it is important to note if that's the case, there's a very real chance the Obi-Wan series will get the very much anticipated May the 4th release date. A lot of us just cannot wait to see what's next for Omega, Crosshair and the rest of Clone Force 99 as they move into the early Imperial Era of the galaxy. And of course with the tease of Mount Tantiss at the end of Season 1, we have so much to look forward to. The direction of the series is definitely going to take a turn, and I wouldn't be surprised if Season 2 is so much more intense. So now my dear Megalorians, we're going to move on and talk about the Book of Boba Fett. We're going to look at a new teaser, but first of all we have an exclusive from Variety with Jennifer Beals, and evidently she plays the unknown Twi'lek character that's been in every single trailer and teaser. Now she's going to be in just one of the 7 episodes, which makes me wonder, why is her character deemed to be so important? We'll have to find out when the show drops, and I can't wait for it. She's an amazing actress, and let's see what she had to say on making the Book of Boba Fett. For more than a year, Jennifer Beals has been dying to talk with anyone outside her family about her role on the new Star Wars series, The Book of Boba. In her own words, I wanted to tell everybody and I couldn't tell anyone. Fans have known next to nothing about the Disney Plus series ever since it was first announced at the end of the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. Since then, however, Lucasfilm has shrouded the show with its customary veil of secrecy until the first trailer when Beals appeared in a brief shot as a Twi'lek. Jennifer Beals did not reveal much about her role, but did state she had a tremendous time working on the show. And then, she reiterates a sentiment shared by Temuera Morrison that she needed Dave Filoni to guide her in all things Star Wars lore. She says, "It's not as if I'm well versed in Star Wars lore at all, but that moment when Luke is instructed to use the Force identified for me my beginnings of my understanding of the universe." When asked if she knew about Twi'leks, she said, I had to be reminded of what that was and who they are and where they're from. Dave Filoni is just extraordinary. He's like a walking encyclopedia. Instead of relying on the internet, which I don't know who the authors are of certain articles that I'm looking at, I would go to the source. I would go to Dave and we would talk about the character and how this is a different person than perhaps the lineage that comes before and what has informed her experiences, and then how does that change the way she looks or behaves. And that makes me wonder, is her Twi'lek character going to be related to a Twi'lek we know from the existing Star Wars universe? Because she does say that she knew about the character and needed confirmation from Dave Filoni about certain aspects of who she's going to be playing and where she's from. Obviously, we've pointed out theories in the past how she could be someone in the underworld of Star Wars who also runs a Twi'lek healing spa, but that being said, she's teasing something way more important than that. The fact that Jennifer Beals has appeared in every single trailer tells me that she is going to play a vital role in the series. There's a reason they placed her in every single one. Not only does she look amazing, but I think she's going to be pivotal to Boba and Fennec's journey. We'll have to wait and see, and we just have 11 days until we find out. So now, my dear friends, speaking of the Book of Boba Fett, let's take a look at this new teaser. We get 2 pieces of new footage, and while they're not too revealing, one of them sees Fennec Shand punching a Gamorrean in the face. Now, I think it's because the Gamorrean guards need to be proven that you are their master, kind of like a test of bravery or strength. Either this or they betray them, but seeing Fennec Shand twatting a Gamorrean in the face is definitely entertaining, especially when you slow it down. So finally, my dear friends, we have an update from the filmmaker Gareth Edwards, who states that after making Rogue One, he is not interested in making another Star Wars movie. Now, do not confuse him with Tony Gilroy, who worked on Rogue One and is also the showrunner for the Andor series. This is Gareth Edwards, the director of Rogue One, and he's confirmed in a recent interview with StarWars.com that he's uninterested in making anything Star Wars going forward. The reason that he gives is wanting to pass the torch onto younger directors, allowing for the franchise to have a more diverse set of voices to tell its stories. And surprisingly, he also talks about the film never feeling like his own, having taken so much inspiration from George Lucas. In his own words, he says, "Star Wars is the most incredible franchise ever created, in my opinion, and will always have a special place in my heart, but I feel like I got to climb Everest, I got to land on the moon, and I'm very happy with that. So I need to step aside and let someone else carry on the legacy. Also doing it felt like it was never my film. It was always something we'd borrowed from George. Every time I see something from our film, like Darth Vader or the Stormtroopers or anything, I just feel like, well, that's George. That's the original crew and designers that came up with that stuff. And I got to hold the baby for a moment and then pass it on. My main fear was that I just didn't want to drop the baby, you know? And he's an excellent filmmaker and he's being very, very modest here. And I bet so many directors who worked on Star Wars after George Lucas, after the Disney buyout, feel the exact same way, that they're borrowing this franchise. We know how Dave Filoni reveres George Lucas and always gives credit to him first and foremost. Well, Gareth Edwards deserves a lot of respect for pretty much saying the exact same thing, that he never felt like it was his, it always belonged to George. But again, he's being modest. For so many fans, Rogue One is considered the best Star Wars project under Disney Star Wars, or at least the best Disney Star Wars film. Rogue One seems to shine through all of that, and many of us cannot wait for Star Wars Andor. 2 days ago marked the 5-year anniversary of Rogue One. It was a hit with critics and audiences, with praise going to its visuals, performances, score and tone. Yes, there was a little bit of criticism for de-aging technology of Tarkin and Leia, but that is being pedantic. Overall, to this day, it's considered one of the best Star Wars movies ever made. And I'll tell you what guys, the film has truly grown on me. I find myself rewatching it pretty much more than most Star Wars films. I would say The Phantom Menace and The Empire Strikes Back are the 2 Star Wars movies I find myself watching over and over again, but Rogue One is definitely up there. And as I say, even though Gareth Edwards is not involved in Star Wars Andor, Tony Gilroy is. He did the screenplay and writing for Rogue One, and as the showrunner to Star Wars Andor, I'm sure he's going to do it justice. Do not sleep on the Andor series. There are going to be some surprises, some which I can't talk about as I've said in the past, that are truly going to just blow you away. We're dealing with a period that does connect to Star Wars Rebels and aspects of the prequel era, while also being 5 years away from Rogue One and A New Hope. So I hope you guys are excited. I definitely am. So as I say, The Bad Batch Season 2 is probably right after the Book of Boba Fett. I might be wrong, I'm just speculating, but it does seem like it's coming in the early half of next year. Having said that, my dear friends, let me know your thoughts of everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, you know what to do. Give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and a massive welcome if you are, and why not consider becoming a patron? The link is down there in the description. But otherwise, may the force be with you all. I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'll see you in the next one.